So I'm going to talk to you guys about the head and arm attack and also how to use it as a defense, and that's my favorite way because I don't like to use it too much as an attack. So the head and arm cannot be thrown unless you're really close to your opponent. Okay? If there's too much space to get into the right position, you're going to have to stand up to get them into your armpit, and by standing up like this, you're giving up your whole body and your balance, and they'll throw you backwards. Grab your own waist like that. That'll happen way too often if you don't get close to your opponent. So do whatever it takes, set them up, pull them in, so that your opponent is close to you. It's best if their head is actually underneath you. If their head is too high, or if you're wrestling a taller opponent, you might have to reach up. And again, reaching up puts you in that bad off-balance position. So if you're shorter than your opponent, get them down to your level. Pull their head down until they're below or at least the same height as you. So that's the first. So what the head and arm is your right arm or your dominant hand. I guess you can do it on either side, but typically your dominant hand is going to go along his neck, staying as close to his body as you can. I don't want to see you guys throwing it up. The farther it is from his body, the more likely he is to duck it. Okay? So you have your arm there and you just slide it across his body. Okay? And you're going to reach to the armpit. And you want it nice and tight in there. Your left hand either has this arm in tight to your chest, as we did in the shoulder throw, squeezing it in, grabbing the wrist, or it's underneath the body here, grabbing the tricep. Okay? One of those two. The wrist is possible, but again, too much space here. There's a lot of room for error. So I like one of the other two. So he's in nice and tight. I slide my arm around over here. I grab the shoulder. What I like to see is a step with your right foot. Similar to the shoulder throw, we have to turn and face the same direction as our opponent, or almost. So I take a step with my right foot, and it either goes in front of his foot or in front of my own foot. Okay? I have to drop him in this area right over here. I'm going to be using a lot of strength in the arm throw, in the head and arm throw. So I slip my arm around, I take that step sideways, and I really put as much weight as I can into my hip. Okay, the first thing that should hit the ground is my hip. So super heavy hip, step, and all I'm going to do is drop that hip. You might call it popping the hip, either or, but really put as much weight as you can into that hip. Okay? At the same time, you're using your arms, you're using your strength, and you're twisting your body to bring them down to the ground. Full speed, it looks like this. Okay? It's not a hip toss, okay? The idea is not to come here, sit here, get your hip out, and throw them over top. Okay? That's much, much too slow. This is a quick move, okay? And you should be getting it really, really quickly. So you take a quick step, you get your arm over top, and you turn them as quickly as you can, and you use your strength. Okay? Turn around this one. So, you're throwing it. You definitely do not want to let go of this. So let's come up to your knees. So as I'm throwing it and I'm bringing him down, do not let go of anything. This is the perfect finish. You might want to adjust your hands and pull his arm up a little higher, but do not let go of his armpit. Okay? The finish to this is getting off of your butt. If you have your weight on your butt, there's less weight on your opponent, and they can feel it. The second that you get off your butt, they'll feel that extra pressure, and it's a better chance of you pinning your opponent. So, when can you use this move? Like I said, when their head is close to you, underneath or the same level as your head. And also as a defensive move. So I like to use this if my opponent gets in on me on like an underhook. If he underhooks my left side, he's now gotten inside control, up to my shoulder. Good. So he's gotten an underhook. And I don't like that. He's inside of me. I feel he might be able to get my legs from here. Because he's in inside control, he's typically going to be underneath you. So this is the greatest chance, as a defensive move, to just turn him. Okay? So if your opponent gets too close inside of you, maybe they're very good and they battle in, and they get here, all of a sudden they're underneath you. Their head is low. You can use the head and arm as a defensive move. It also works if they're on the leg attack. Let's say he's on a single leg, and he doesn't have the greatest stance, perhaps, and his head is up. So now his head is underneath me, and again, I can use this move as a defensive move. So just remember, if the head is underneath you, they're very susceptible to this move. And it's very much used most of the time defensively, or it should be used most of the time defensively. So that is the head and arm and when you should be using it.